Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Baka.
What's up, guys?
What up?
Sorry we weren't here last week. But we're back now, and that's all that really matters.
Right.
Time only goes forward, right?
Yes.
It's only here and now.
Yes, that's kind of the nature of time. But yes, that's how it works. So, since we've now had 2 weeks in between, what games has everybody been playing?
I've not been playing much at all, actually. I took a couple weeks off, 10 days off of playing to move my entire desk around, all my equipment around, and so now you're actually seeing what I normally saw when I played. And
It does look a little different.
a little bit than a big green screen, really?
Yeah, I thought I saw something a little different.
So I did that, and then we got back into we played a little bit of Deep Rock Galactic over the last couple days. Really enjoying the game, like the progression and everything that goes along with the game. And the interesting thing to me, I thought, was we've been in certain areas before, but I think because we're higher levels, they're adding enemies. Because we had to fight against this giant plant thing I've never seen ever, and it was supposed to be like an easy area, like not a lot to the area, but it's like they added this to it. I was like, okay, so they're somewhere in there, they have a progression system that allows for more difficult stuff to go in, which is what I worried about, is that the game might get boring because as you increase, you have more abilities with your guns and all that stuff that you've unlocked. What are you going to do? Well, now there's a little bit more strategy involved in it. It's kind of cool too, because like with the plant thing, you had to do certain things and then it could heal itself. So you had to keep it from being able to heal itself while you're trying to destroy it. So it was kind of neat that those mechanics have been added into it. Overall, it's a really good cooperative shooter. And so as we progress, it's pretty fun. Right now because you have to go so far into the game, and once you reach a certain level in the game, that is your job interview for the people you're working for.
Okay.
And it was like, we've been through a lot for this job interview. Now we have this, right? So that allows you to unlock a license to be able to have certain things that you go out and do. And so we were working through those last night through the four of us, because we all chose different things. So we had different missions for ourselves. Yeah, but you can see what everybody else's mission is. So you're like, okay, are you on the second part of yours or on the first part? So I'm still on the first part. All right, we're going to do yours because we're all on our second part, that type of thing. So you can kind of work together to unlock the stuff. So I thought that was pretty neat. Also, if it works out well because of somebody's section for that particular round, because every 30 minutes the actual missions change inside the world on how they work. So what that allowed us to do is, like, let's say that somebody has one where there's no shields for any of us in a particular round, but it pays off really well. We might not want to do that one if it's in a very difficult area. Like this one was in the lava area. Lava's hard on its own. Nobody has any shields. Probably don't want to do that one. So we just moved on to somebody else, and then we can always go back after 30 minutes and see what has unlocked and see if that mission's easier or in a better zone for somebody. So it's pretty interesting on how the game is progressing. I like it a lot. And it's not my new Sea of Thieves. I haven't found anything to replace Sea of Thieves yet, which we're going to talk about Sea of Thieves here in a little bit, but it's still fun. I enjoy playing it with my friends, so that's good.
I like that it's
But that's all I got
at this point. Nice. We've been playing a lot of friend stuff too. Those of us that have DPS tank classes and WoW have been helping my friend Foxy level up. I have a priest, so it's like, what am I gonna do? Nothing? Okay, I'll just be over here till you hit 60. But we've done other group stuff. We have all now got to play Red Dead Online together. And, one, don't jump to people's horses if they're not in your group, your posse. Sorry, Baka. 2, don't jump to Red's horse even if he is in your posse, because he will run you straight into whatever is the closest obstacle to him. Okay? Just don't ride with him. You think I'm bad?
The amount of horse collisions that we have had while playing is ridiculous. The first thing we're getting set up. People are joining. We're getting ready. Baka joins in, and I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna, like, my horse has really good acceleration, and I guess Baka's is really big, and he came in on like around the corner, and I just accelerate to the corner, and this motherfucker comes at the corner at the same time, and we just slam into each other immediately. He didn't even spawn in for like 5 seconds. He just boom! My character flies, his character flies, and both of our horses are dead. We had to use horse reviver on both of them. Like, the first thing we do is just collide into each other immediately. I don't know what it is, but playing with these guys, I constantly run into people or run into them.
Yeah.
And
the amount of us all
Ragdoll
bumping
physics
into
is
each other
so
while we're
cool.
on like missions together. It's like, escort this person. Okay, there's 4 of us, and the one
Boom.
person we're escorting, so we're all like bumper horsing the whole way through because none of us know how to spread out, I guess.
Oh, oh, so golden.
The
So
horse
golden.
physics are one of the best parts of Red Dead, and it's just, I mean, it was the same in the first Red Dead where the horse physics were the best, but it's not, it was different horse physics. It was that your horse would actually deflate if it took damage, like a balloon, and things like that. And in this one, it's like, these horses are, as soon as they touch each other, there's no more physics anymore. It's just the rules are out the window. You're gonna go flying, and they're just gonna flop down like, you know, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But
Okay, another collision one. Just because I watched this one, it was Baka again because he drives a horse as well as he drives a car. And
Do not let me, unless it's like a flying vehicle. Then I'm good at that.
yeah,
My
give him
land
3
vehicle,
dimensions.
no.
He's good. Give him land, and no, he'll just hit anything. He came around and went to go across this bridge, and there was somebody else crossing. By the way, it's a pretty big bridge. And he slams into this person, and the person gets pissed, and he gets up, and his horse gets up, and the dude just starts shooting at him. And Baka's like, "What the hell? This dude's shooting at me." He hits Baka's horse, and the horse just starts running. And Baka's trying to call for his horse on the other side of the bridge. And a few seconds later, he's like, "Is that dude still shooting at me?" And I'm on the other side of the bridge, just watching this dude like spaz out. He jumps over the fence and he's hiding, just trying to shoot Baka across the river. And he's like, "Is he still shooting at me?" "Yes, Baka, he's over here still shooting at you," because I wasn't gonna help him. I was like, "You need to take care of your problem." And he's like, "Bop! All right, he's dead. Now where's my horse?" I was like, "I took off over that way."
and I am this
I
close.
also we also had an issue of a bunch of NPCs just randomly attacking us for no reason. So like Grif and everyone else hogtied theirs. I hogtied mine as well. So we didn't kill them, but I took mine and dropped him in the river and let him drown.
Yeah, that's still murder. I mean, I'm just saying that's still arrestable.
It's like
offense.
it's
It
like
did
old
not count
school
as
Ark
murder.
when you would just take the bodies and drag them out into the water and then grab their stuff afterward.
He was still alive and hogtied. So I rode him on the back of the horse
See-
and dropped him into the river and.
See, Baka's mean, and I am this close to being like, I'm not gonna take you on any of my quests anymore, because with him, it's okay, well, I'm gonna run in and start killing these people in this camp, even if they're horses and innocent people. Here's some gas grenades and some fire, and it kills literally everything it touches. It's like,
Yeah, Baka has
I just
no-
can't. Like, I can't handle
Yeah, I
walking
can't
around
sleep.
the aftermath of a bunch of dead horses that didn't have to die because his ass is too lazy to shoot somebody instead of throw a grenade. This close, Baka.
Fire.
No. I don't give it. If it's like a group of actual just people, fine, set them on fire. But if there are innocents and or animals involved, fuck right off with that shit. Pull out your fucking gun like the rest of us wild westerns
There
and shoot
were no
them.
innocents in there. It was just the horses.
Animals and
They're
innocents.
innocents.
I mean, I don't know which part of those two things. One of those things is the category that I just said. So
Well, in other news, we have finally converted Grif's sister to full PC gaming.
Yeah.
She has her entire PC built, and she has been gaming with us on it. And let's just say, going from that laptop to her PC, She's
rainbow.
little starstruck too. She
Yeah.
loves how fast it loads. She loves playing Sea of Thieves now because it just boots up real quick and everything is smooth. She's got a nice 27-inch curved monitor too. Oh,
The downside
she
is
enjoying the shit.
Chicken's like, well, now that your computer can run everything and you don't lag when we play Phasmophobia, you have to actually go in the house now because you don't have the excuse of, well, if I lag while it haunts, then I'm dead. So she's been like roped into that. Oddly enough, we haven't really, since he told her that, we haven't played Phasmophobia.
She's trying to avoid it. Well, it's because everybody else wants to, like, now that our horizons have expanded, she's like, I gotta try it every
Well, she wants to try, like, every game she owns, because would you want to see it in a nicer quality? I can't blame her. I cannot blame her.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see. I did that. We've done Red Dead. We've done WoW stuff. I've done a little more Cyberpunk, and I wanted to bring this up because it's something that we have talked about in the past as far as, like, actual UI design and everything. I was playing, and I realized one of the things that bothers me the absolute most, more than any of the glitches or bugs or whatever about that game, is the same thing that bothers me about a lot of other games that are open world. When you open your map, there's just so much junk to look at. Why is it that developers haven't been like, okay, you can hide all of your side objectives and only track the main mission, or you can show them all? Like, let me turn off the map clutter a little bit, please.
You can in that game.
Can.
Thank God. How do you turn off all of the extraneous stuff? I cannot.
It's in the
want to
legend.
say it's the left and right stick, because you use controller, right?
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
the D-pad.
Okay.
I'm not 100%
I'm
on
gonna
that.
test it
but
out
I
later,
think
'cause
it's-
that's
but
exciting.
but it's actually listed in like the left-hand corner. It tells you what button to hit.
Damn.
Yeah.
How have I never noticed it? I guess I've just been too overwhelmed by everything I'm looking at to not,
Yeah, I was like,
not see it. It's like, oh, it's just something else on here. Because I was thinking about how much we complained about things like Assassin's Creed, because it had so much on the map every time you opened it, and it really does bother me that it's like, I don't even know why it shows you things like food vendors and whatnot. You loot so much of that garbage all the time. I don't know why anybody would have to actually buy it.
I don't like, the only way I could see that is if at some point it maybe had decided, but they just didn't add it into the game, that there was like legendary food that you could buy at a
Or
particular
like
place
buffs that
or
you
something.
could get from buying bought food versus found food.
yes, like vendors and whatnot, like being able to go and eat, and it gives you a half an hour buff instead of 7 minutes or 11 minutes.
Like, see, that would make a whole lot more sense than like, because that's like too, because some of the conversations you have to have in the game, you're eating at the time that you're having the conversation, and it's like, this would be a great time for this to be a buff or whatever might be happening right afterwards, because I'm having this conversation at the same time. It's like, good food, good conversation means a little bit more buff.
It's the same thing
Yeah.
as like the Joy Toys, the prostitutes too. It's like they're marked on the map, but why do I need them to be marked on the map? Because they don't give me anything aside from like a mini sex scene, I guess. But you know where they're at. If you wanted that, you could just go back there. You don't have to have another map marker.
Yeah,
Again,
it's very
I think
weird.
it's a bunch of stuff that's cut. Like, they had plans for all of this. I think an article that I saw a few days ago, it was like the real production of Cyberpunk didn't even begin until 2016.
Yeah,
They
I
announced
saw
it in
that.
2012, and they didn't really get going on it until 2016, 4 years later. So,
Right,
I mean,
which I'm assuming is because they were finishing up with Witcher 3 and then they were moving into this one, but it just some of the stuff
a
that
great
they had,
game,
like,
don't get me
it's got a
wrong,
lot in
it'll
the
be
game.
great.
It's an enjoyable game. It's just, I don't disagree. It's just like some of this stuff doesn't make sense. But to be fair, that's a lot of video games. I'll go, why is this a thing?
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing is too, you could literally, for the most part, play this entire game and beat, in quotation marks, the game without doing all the side mission stuff that's in there. And it's like, and that drives me insane with any of these games. Like, I think that some of the side mission stuff should boost your character up enough to where that's the only way you're going to be able to beat the game versus trying to go in and
Well, I mean,
at
they
a low
don't
level
want
and go
to.
through.
I think you run into the problem then with the people that are like, you forced us to grind by doing all of these side quests because you made things level gated, and it's like, well,
Meanwhile,
some of
those same people play Destiny 1 and love it. I mean, fuck off with that shit. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean,
right now.
I like that a lot of it's optional where you can pick and choose, but I do think it would be nice to be like, you probably want to level up a little before you do this next mission, or something like that, so that there was a incentive to go and do the side stuff instead of, you really don't have to do any of it, you could do everything. just straight through the story if you wanted to. So, but I don't know why you
guess
would.
that
That game's got
option's
so
there,
much good stuff.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and maybe that's what it is too. You got people that are like, well, you know, I need to get to the next game, that thought process, and it's like, stop.
Well,
Like,
if you need to
stop,
get to the
chill,
next game,
enjoy the
then an
game that was
open
made.
world RPG is probably not the game you want to play to start with. I mean, I'm sorry.
You know,
That's
play
probably
your
unpopular opinion,
Warzone.
but
It's free now, you know, play your Warzone, enjoy that shit, and then go to the RPG when you want to go through and enjoy life, you know, in
so glad.
another person's mentality.
I'm so glad that you told me
Get
that
to
there was a
roleplay a little
button to
bit.
turn off some of that map clutter, though.
She's like, oh,
No, I mean,
I was so
the
mad
same
about
thing
it.
happened, like a similar thing happened when I was playing Skyrim, and I asked, or it was mentioning to Chicken, I was like, I hate that I get so lost in dungeons. I wish there was a map, and he's like, you know, there's a local map, right? There's a button. And it says it on the screen at the bottom. I just never saw it. Like, my brain just skipped over it, so it's just another one of those.
Grif has this thing where sometimes when she's in games, she just, for some reason, as much as she looks at the screen, she doesn't really look at the screen.
I don't look at, like, the
She just-
peripheral a lot, so if it says it on the side somewhere or down at the bottom, I probably don't see it.
Then you
doesn't
have to start
actually
playing on
look
a
at the
smaller
screen.
monitor. You're gonna have to play on like a little 12-inch so that you can make sure you see everything.
No,
That's
but then
funny.
it'd be too small for me to notice it. So if you put it on a smaller monitor so that you think I can see it better, it's actually worse. Because then it's easier
Fine, I'll
for me
just
to
start
look
playing-
over.
I'll just start playing all the games for you beforehand, and then I'll tell you all the, the
Thanks.
tips about it. Like,
That's so
Remember,
helpful.
there's a button down there. There's a button over there. You can look
That's-
at the map there.
That's so helpful. Thank you.
Or you could just Google, does this have a shortcut to make this happen? Yes.
I
it's
mean,
either.
fair, I
it's
do
so
all the
uncommon
time.
for there to be an option to turn the clutter off for that I didn't think that there would be a reason to Google it. Like, that's
To
surprising
me,
and refreshing.
And I don't disagree with the whole Assassin's Creed thing because their stuff is very overwhelming. But like when I saw the map for the first time on Cyberpunk, I was like, what is all this? Like there is so much. And then when I
Yes.
found that button, I was like, okay, cool.
Because it's like
I was
30,000
that is-
different vendors that you'll never need. It's all the side missions. It's like all of this stuff that all these cars that I'm never going to buy. Like, can I turn off subsections of the stupid side quests? Because I'm not going to buy these stupid cars. It is a waste of my time and I don't drive that much. There's a bus system and I will take the public transportation. Thank you. Like Superman sitting on the bus with all my guns. What's up? Yes, this is my Metro card.
Cyberpunk world, they don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like,
They
whatever.
have people walking around with blades as part of their hands. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
they really don't care.
But I'm just so glad that that's a thing we can fix. What about you, Chicken and Baka? You guys played stuff other than stuff with me?
I played a game. I started playing a game because Baka mentioned it. I forgot it was on
Baka's a
Game
good
Pass. I was
salesperson
like,
on
I need to
accident.
download
Did you
that.
notice that? Baka's like, I'm
Well,
playing
I've
this thing,
wanted
and
to play it
everybody's
for a
like,
while, and
2
he's
weeks
like,
later,
yeah.
I'm playing this thing.
But I went ahead and downloaded Bloodstained, and I went ahead and threw it up and started playing it. Ugh. That game just feels so good. It's a 2D platform.
It's a Castlevania-like game, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, except it's 3-dimensional. It's a 3-dimensional 2D game.
That's what they call
Not
it.
so
Was it
much.
2.5D or something like that?
Yeah,
Isn't it some weird
2.5D.
name?
2.5D.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super neat. It plays exactly what you want from a Symphony of the Night. I think the developers of Symphony of the Night are the ones that made this too.
Yeah. The guy who did Symphony of the Night basically came in and did crap. I can't think of the name of it now. Where they get people to donate money to them.
Kickstarter?
The
They made
Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
Yeah. And they did this game, and there's a second one out there now too because this one did so well.
Oh, nice.
That's good.
It is a lot of fun, and there is absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind that this game was inspired by Castlevania. Like, I mean, even at the beginning, which I find hilarious, they're telling you about the story and whatnot, and then at some point they're like, oh yeah, and a castle sprung up, and we don't know why the demons are pouring out of it. It's like, seems oddly familiar. I wonder if Dracula's gonna show up. I doubt it. There's a whole different story in this one, but it plays just like it, and it feels like a modern version of Symphony of the Night. And holy shit, people who owns Castlevania?
Capcom?
Konami.
Konami?
Ugh.
It's a Konami game.
Oh.
Give me a 2.5D remade or rebooted version of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Holy shit, that thing will sell.
Not gonna happen.
No.
Castlevania.
No,
being
Castlevania
put
is
into
in
slot machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the ground.
Mhm.
That's all that Konami does these days. I don't know why anybody's still surprised, Chicken.
It sucks. It sucks that Konami owns such high-profile games and they refuse to do anything with it. Like, I mean, Castlevania, Silent Hill. And
Why couldn't it have been, like, instead of Microsoft trying to man up and go after Nintendo back in the day, why couldn't they just buy Konami?
No shit. I thought they would have gotten laughed out of the thing so fast. Oh, it hurts that some of these
so basically
titles are just
Microsoft and or THQ Nordic, we need you to go after Konami. That's what needs to happen.
Hell, if you can, Sony, get them.
IPs.
Right?
Yes.
Like, make a deal of like, okay, we'll make the video games of these, but you can keep making them, the slot machine versions.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. Hell, even give them kickback. It's just free money for them. All they got to do is let somebody fucking make a game with their titles, and then they get free money.
Right?
Who
I
doesn't
like free money.
Yeah, I know, right? I wish I could find a bag of money.
Did
I break
you make it
lamps
to
and I
the,
get free money.
Equivalent of the Belmont for the game.
The Belmont? No.
The guy with the I can't think of his name, but he has swords you fight him with, and
Is he like the first boss?
No.
Not the tentacle lady. The one once you go into the castle, you work your way up to the top, and he comes at you with a katana.
Yes.
Yeah. He kicked my ass several times. The motherfucker keeps copying my moves. I try to jump over him, and he jumps at the same time, and I bump into him, and then we land, and he takes a quick slash at me. It's like, dude, just let me jump over you.
Did you find the 8-bit coin?
Yes, I did find the 8-bit coin.
You can redeem that. There's a sword, like orchid something or something like that. But essentially what it is it's Mace Windu's lightsaber, and I used that. It did quite a bit of damage to him, and I beat his ass.
That's
but
awesome.
It even makes the noise so he doesn't roam.
Wow, how the hell did they get rights to that?
Because it's not called lightsaber.
By finding the 16-bit and 32-bit coins.
Or you just buy them for 64,000 coins or 32,000 coins.
No,
Yeah.
I'm gonna find mine, but
Yeah, I'm gonna find them too. But the game's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I've only played it for like an hour and a half. Died several times because just sometimes I overestimate my ability. And using a joystick in a game like that is very difficult. Like for me personally, the D-pad just
Instead
feels
of
so
the
much
old
better.
school D-pad, is that what you mean? Like,
yeah, like the D-pad feels so much better in a game like that. For me personally, the joystick
it's on Switch too, isn't it?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so see, you would actually be able to get the D-pad
Switch,
feel for it.
Xbox, PlayStation. It's on everything now.
Yeah, it's a simple game. It's not a very complicated. It's only 8 gigs too, so I mean, I guarantee Nintendo or the Switch can run it pretty easily.
Yeah, it's probably 1 gig on that Switch.
Yeah, no shit.
Just say it.
But yeah, that's what I've played. Just WoW, a little bit of that, and Red Dead. Baka, you have anything else to add?
No, that's pretty much what I've been playing too. Is if I haven't been doing WoW or with the Red Dead, I've been playing Bloodstained and getting further into it.
Well, then I
I
guess.
took a break from playing from it when I originally downloaded it. So when I loaded it back up, it took me a bit to rememorize what everything was again for the buttons. So
Get the feel of it again?
See, it's not just me. It's not just me. It's great. That's what it's gonna be
Well, if
like.
they
when
would just make all games the same, we wouldn't have this problem.
right?
Tell that to the console
only thing
developers,
that's-
goddammit.
The only thing that's the same nowadays is if you're playing a first-person shooter, it's the trigger. That's it. That's the only thing that's the same.
Until they swap that, and it's like now it's the A button to shoot, and we'll be like, why? Who would thought that was a
Why
good
did you do
idea?
this?
That's a game that's gonna
It's
fail
like-
based on controller layout.
When it BioShock had that weird thing where Y was jump. It was like
It's a
so
Fallout
weird.
series. Bethesda games
Yeah.
in general. Y is jump.
Yeah.
It's like, why is it not A? It's A literally everywhere else. What's wrong with you?
Like why?
Which is the only thing I can remember. Like, I'm gonna go back to playing Skyrim today, and it's been about 3 weeks since I played last. That's gonna be The only thing I know is how to jump. It's the Y button because it's wrong. Oh, can you call your...
Like, it doesn't even feel good.
Like old school Nintendo games where it's like normally it's like, you know, the A button or the B button to jump, and they do the weird ones. It's like, no, you gotta hold up to jump.
Ugh.
Oh yes. Oh, and that comes from the old arcade days, because you used to have you'd have one button essentially, and then you'd have your joystick, and so that came from, you had to point up in order to be able to jump type thing, and then there would be certain ones where you had to kind of do this, and so you had to be that in between, and so you had to get that mechanic right to be able to make that happen, or you either went right or straight up.
Before we jump into the news, the Skyrim thing did remind me to ask Chicken and Baka, you guys have played Skyrim up more than me. Is there a way to call my horse, or do I just have to keep track of it? Like, if I jump off the horse and run into this area and it stays over there, do I have to go back to get it, or can I call it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just have to keep track. It's not even marked on the map. What happens if I lose it?
You just fast travel. It'll be right there next to you.
Oh. Okay, then.
Yep.
Doesn't matter where you leave it at if you fast travel.
Well, I didn't know. I was like, I didn't see it on the map, and I got off to do something because I finally bought a horse, and I was like, wait, how do I get it back?
You just have to
this
keep
game
mods.
is on
There might be a mod for that.
This game's on everything, like VR, refrigerators, everything. Does not have horse whistling technology.
I mean, but it's because it's an older game, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but
it's
when
just a
did
mechanic that they didn't...
when did Assassin's Creed? Yeah, it was the second one. Or it might have been Brotherhood. One of those had the capability to be able to call your horse. So in relationship, like 2011 is when Skyrim came out. I know this because we always talk about how old it is. So,
10 years, by the way, this year. This November will be 10 years.
10 years this year.
We've gotten like 40 different versions of this game.
Yeah, but the horse whistling thing I know has been around for a little bit. I'm just wondering if it's one of those things where maybe they couldn't do it in a game like an open world. Well, I mean, the other one's open world too, but first person.
When did Red Dead come out?
I don't know. I'm looking for the Assassin's Creed horse deal, because I remember you had a horse in 2, but I don't remember how you got to it. I think it just followed you.
Yeah, I want to say that there's also one in Brotherhood, and then whatever the other one was.
2010, May 18th, 2010 is when Red Dead Redemption came out, and if I'm not mistaken, Red Dead Redemption had horse calling techniques.
The original one did.
I'm pretty sure the original one did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that this is so, like, completely derailed the show. Is how do you call your horse in games, and who thought of it first?
All right.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. Now everybody else is thinking the same thing. That's listening, going, "Hold on, it's got to be this." Comment down below, folks, if you remember a game that had some type of horse calling technology. Here's the other thing too. I mean, it's not a fast way of doing it, but when did Saints Row 3 come out? Because you could call for cars.
You could call for cars in the first Saints Row, I think, or the second. Okay. The second one you can. The first one I haven't really played.
The first one came out like early.
Yep.
Like 2 generations ago, right?
GTA, you could call your car, couldn't you? Couldn't you call for a car in GTA? Earlier iterations of GTA? Maybe you didn't. Maybe it didn't matter. You just stole whatever was closest.
Yeah, we just stole whatever it was. I don't remember.
95% of the time in GTA, even the early ones, you just stole a car. You never.
I mean, it's called Grand Theft Auto. So
yeah, I mean that was part of it.
You know, San Andreas, you rode a bike, but
hey, you can ride a bike in GTA 5. My Michael rides bikes lots because it ups his stamina.
Yeah, but that was everybody went to go ride the bike because your character's body model would change as you went through the game.
Buff.
You get all buff.
All right.
Sorry, let's talk about some news. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
I thought it was a good conversation at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to like derail everything.
Things we don't think about in games. When did this happen the first time, and why is it not a thing in Skyrim? Check and see if somebody's done a mod.
That's what Baka said. Baka said there's probably a mod for it.
Yeah,
all right.
That would be great.
Let's talk about some news.
Which actually goes into a good one for mods.
Oh yeah, there is a story about modding stuff. The people that made the Enderall mod for Skyrim are actually going to be working on their own game. Like a fully standalone thing.
Did anybody play that?
You did.
I'm playing Skyrim for the first time. No, I'm not playing a big mod add-on.
Yeah. It's not an add-on. It's a completely separate game.
But it's a mod for Skyrim, though. Like, you have to have Skyrim, and you can launch it from
It
there.
basically
Skyrim
just
engine
uses the
in-
Skyrim engine, and they built an entire game.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
from the
I've
ground
never
up.
played Skyrim. I wasn't going to play something based in running the game in the background without having actually played that game.
But the mod's actually, like, I've talked about it before on this show. It's really, really well made, and I can't wait to see what they come out with on their own. I assume it's going to be a big RPG like this, but it'll be interesting with what they come out with.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's a timetable or anything, so it'll probably be, if I had to guess, early access by the end of this year, and then fully released towards the fall of next year, or the year after that.
I mean, that's going to be pretty cool. I wonder if it'll look
yeah.
still very similar to Skyrim stuff.
If I had to guess, probably not-ish, because they're not going to be allowed to
Not-ish?
use a Skyrim engine and make a game, because, you know.
Well, it could be they go in a
Unreal
totally
Engine
different
4
direction.
if
We
I
don't
had
know
to guess.
necessarily they're going to set themselves into a fantasy world that's similar either, right?
Yeah.
True. Interesting thing to watch, you know? That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just goes to show
Goes
how
from
big
modder
the
to
mod community is now. It's like these people started out making a mod, ended up making their own standalone that's just using the engine of the Skyrim game, and now they're making their own content. So
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know?
they've got their own Steam page, and they've got DLC for the mod, too. Like, you talk about a huge standalone,
yeah,
it is.
from the
It's
bottom
its
to
own
the top.
game.
Nice job.
Hell yeah.
Now I'm definitely pumped to go play Skyrim later.
Other mods that are out there as well. Fallout's largest ever mod has come out after 7 years. It's based on New Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's kind of the
the
same deal, though,
frontier.
isn't it? This is kind of like almost a standalone using the engine for it.
Yep, pretty
Yeah,
much.
it's very similar.
They've been working on it for, 7 years, for a very, very long time. About as long as they were making Cyberpunk.
Ooh.
No. Technically, no. When they planned Cyberpunk, not when they started Cyberpunk. This was already 3 years in when Cyberpunk was starting.
But yeah,
But
it's a whole standalone
the interesting thing about it to me is it's set in like Oregon or somewhere.
Yeah,
and
it's Portland,
based
Oregon.
on it's set on New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas. This is the actual engine they're using, and they've set it somewhere else. And I'm thinking, I never got to play New Vegas. I played Fallout 3 and then Fallout 4, but I never got to play New Vegas. But all I can think is nothing about that sounds like it would match versus like
Well, that's
the
what I'm
Northwest of
just
the United
thinking-
States.
Well, most people think Vegas is probably the best one out of them. So.
Yeah, that's what I've
Yeah.
read everywhere, and at some point I'm gonna have to play it because I own it.
It's
It's one of those
it's
like I
because
bought it in a
it's,
Steam
like-
bundle and I've just never played it yet. But
it's a true RPG. Like, it harrows back to kind of what Dragon Age
Barkins.
Origins was, where, yeah, Bark or whatever. Grif is my English side. She corrects me whenever I'm wrong. I like that you waved. Hi, that's me. But yeah, there's a lot of RPG aspects in it. Like, your stats are important. How you talk to the NPCs is important. Pretty much how you play out the game, you can decide.
And Oblivion made that one, right?
you mean
Yes.
no? Oblivion is the name of a game.
Shit. Platinum?
It's oh come on,
What's it?
Obsidian.
What's Obsidian? That's
yes.
the word.
I was
Yeah.
like, you are on the right track, but now that you've said Oblivion, it has destroyed my brain.
Can't get it out of my head. Yes, it's Obsidian. Yeah, Obsidian.
Yes. Obsidian.
Obsidian.
Oblivion
did
is
that.
another Elder Scrolls game.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to try it out at some point. I just get it all
Yeah, you'll
modded
probably
up so
enjoy
it's
it.
pretty and try it out because it's older.
Yeah. It's older.
I'll try it out. I've heard good things. I'm playing Skyrim right now though. Well, it'll have to wait till after that's done. Which I thought was
So,
gonna
by
take forever, but I
start
feel
of
like
next
looking at my
year?
quest log, it's not gonna take that long to finish up Skyrim.
Aw. Look at how naive she is.
I mean, to be fair, if I wanted to finish Skyrim, you could just go straight through the quest line and be done in like 6 hours.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, you choose when you're done
Yeah, I know.
playing. I mean, good luck trying to finish everything, because Oh my god.
To be fair, the
Just
same could be
so
said about
much
Red
shit.
Dead 2, and it took her 17 years to finish that one.
Yeah.
Well, at least one of us actually
pretty much
finished
any-
it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I was
wow.
just giving you a joke. You got all personal about that shit. Damn, yo.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm just saying. Y'all make fun of me for taking forever to play games, but I played that game multiple times and several other games that y'all have never finished multiple times. So, don't make fun of me.
So, yeah, I played games that you've never finished either.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I played games
You've
that
played
you've
games
never finished
that,
too.
It's games that I've never started either, though.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, I don't think you'll ever play any of the Castlevania.
No. I tried one of them.
It's just stay away from platformers, period.
Yeah, that's just not my thing. I tried one of the
She played
Castlevanias.
she played Darksiders. And Darksiders is a platformer.
Yeah, I did play that one. But I guess that one felt like the handling on it felt a little different.
Darksiders hack and slash more than it is platforming.
No, it is hack and slash
The-
and a platformer.
The combat is hack and
'Cause the
slash, but
puzzles-
the actual crossing the levels is platformy
Yes.
because you have to
Can
be
be,
able
yeah.
to.
Like, it's puzzle solving. It's like, if I had to say, it's like Zelda super light. The puzzles aren't very difficult to solve.
No.
No.
That's what needs to change in video games. When they have puzzles based like that, when you increase the difficulty, the puzzles need to change.
I think
Some
there is
game
a
that
game
does
like that.
ask you that. There's one, I can't remember what it is, but it's something that's like you have two settings for difficulties. It's what do you want the combat difficulty and what do you want the puzzle difficulty. And it may be Darksiders.
Damn, what game was that? Holy shit.
I don't remember it being Darksiders.
I can't remember
I don't think it's in
what it
Darksiders,
is.
but I know... I can't think of the game.
Yeah, I can't either. We've obviously all played it.
Devil May
but-
Cry, maybe?
No, Devil May Cry doesn't have a whole lot of puzzles.
I don't know. We're not going to sit here and think about it.
We'll
for
think
an
about
hour.
it and get back to you.
Yes.
Put it down in the comments below. Put it down in the comments
Yeah,
below
if
if
you
you
know
want
what
to
game
tell us what
that
it
is,
is. That's
you,
what they're there for. Put them down in the comments
tell
below.
us.
Now it is really gonna bother me though. But it does. It has two settings. I think more games should do that. I think that'd be nice.
Because sometimes I prefer depending on the game and the plot line and everything else goes on, I prefer the puzzles over the actual combat. And also depends on what kind of day it is. I'm having a bad day. I would like more combat, please.
It might be one of the Silent Hills, maybe, or maybe is it Resident Evil? Does one of the Resident Evil ask you that? Because
Maybe-
it's
maybe
based on
7.
the reason I'm leaning Resident Evil or Silent Hills because it changes the how much clue you get in the puzzle.
Yeah, which ones you find, and I think it may be one of those two.
And I know that because I played 2 when it first came out, and it had a good amount of puzzles in it. Did they do it for the remake, you think?
Maybe.
But you both played it, and I haven't played that one yet.
I think.
It might have been.
Wow. Sorry, that was a huge flock of birds in the backyard.
Oh.
And I mean huge. like there were probably 150 just sitting there, and I happened to look up, and they all just take off at one time, and it's just this black mass that just disappears. That was crazy. That was a lot of birds.
Well, I mean, we could talk about, since I've mentioned the Resident Evil thing, because it might be that one. Capcom did do their Resident Evil showcase this week, which I know Chicken probably wants to vent about a little bit.
A wee bit.
So how was it, Chicken? Were you all excited? Is it everything you hoped it would be?
I was super excited. I was super excited. First of all, they showed off a little bit of Resident Evil 8. Holy shit. Like, you get Resident Evil 4 vibes from that so fucking hardcore. Like, I mean, they're bringing back the merchant. They're evolving Resident Evil 7, how it was, and then just kind of taking what worked so well in 4 and just sticking it in there. And it's like, all right, now we're really going to make this game incredible. And it looks good. You got the merchant. You got your briefcase inventory style back. You got upgrades for your weapons. Like, it looks super good. The enemy variety, also tall vampire lady. She's pretty fucking cool. Very intimidating. She reminds me of a very charismatic version of the bad guy from 4. And I can kind of guess how the story's going to go. I've played enough Resident Evil
How
games.
funny is that if it's taking a lot from 4 and it happens to be 8,
Oh,
I
it's like
guarantee
just
they did it
double.
on purpose.
Get out.
Yeah, it's like they might have. It's a possibility.
yes.
You never know.
Oh yes, but that one looks so good. Their mainline, Capcom's mainline Resident Evil games look good. After 6, when they were like, okay, we went a little too far in one direction. Let's bring it back towards the horror survival side, and they made 7 incredible. 8 looks just as incredible, and then they went ahead and announced their garbage bag they're attaching to Resident Evil 8, like they did with Resident Evil 3 Remake, which was mediocre at best. It was super short, which I will get into in just a second. But for the 25th anniversary, they're releasing a game called RE-Verse.
Which is a horrible name.
Yeah.
Reverse. Yes.
Reverse. It's horrible.
It's a 6-player free-for-all shoot 'em up killing game.
And it was cell shaded too. Like,
yeah, it looks terrible.
Very weird.
I apologize to the people working on it, but the people that you guys just made a bad choice. Like the developers, I mean, I hate to be like that about it, but
have had a choice if they're under contract.
That's fine. But whoever's in charge of it, you are just out of touch, dude. Just you have an idea that you can use. The mercenary style of multiplayer works. Use it. Stop. Like Resident Evil Resistance was pretty good too. Like it was a lot of fun. But but it was, unfortunately it was tied to Resident Evil 3 and
yeah,
you can't
don't put it
get
behind
it
the
other
paywall
than
of the game.
3. Yeah, stop doing that. First of all, make it a cheaper side game that people can buy separately if they want. And this style game just doesn't have a place. It just does not have a place in Resident Evil.
Because it's just
like free for all shooter.
Yeah, it's just a free for all. So is it like a BR only? The map doesn't get smaller. It's just a Slayer kind of deal.
It's
Lone
just a
Wolf,
Slayer
get the
where you
most
play
kills.
iconic characters from the last 25 years.
In
Which,
third
to be
person.
fair, it looks like to be fair,
Very
it looks like
weird.
an asset reuse from the previous 3 remakes that they made. 7, 3, or 2 and 3.
Yeah, but they cel shaded it,
And
didn't it? I guess it's less graphically intense.
I don't have a problem with the cell shading. Like I would actually be okay with the cell shading and separating it from the universe a little bit that way. But like looking at the combat, it looked clunky as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and just watching the stuff that was at like.
I mean,
like,
that
literally
combat's
just
fine
created-
for a slower pace when you're fighting the NPCs, but it's not fine when you're fighting other people. I mean, it just...
And I think they dropped the ball on the fact that literally you own the franchise of Resident Evil. Create a separate game and then create skins from those people to sell if you're going to do it. But create a good game first.
But that's the problem.
Go
Is
along with it.
I think Capcom wants so badly to get into that multiplayer market, and they just keep trying things, but they're tacking the things they're trying onto their main titles, and then that paywall is excluding them from actually getting any sort of actual player base. It also
Why would
seems
you
like they
not
want
do
to
it?
try it
Why
without
would you not?
supporting.
If you own Resident Evil, why would you not do a 5v1? Because you
They
have.
did that. That's what Resistance
They
was.
did was the other one?
Yeah, that was
That's
the one
Resident Evil Resistance. It's the bad guy versus 3, and you can spawn up
4.
zombies and set traps and control big monsters to try to stop them, and they have to collect
And it was
things to get
garbage?
through the levels.
No,
it's
it was
actually
pretty
fucking
good.
fun.
It's just they paywalled it behind you had to buy Resident Evil 3 in order to get access to it. And it's most of the people that wanted to play that didn't want to buy Resident Evil 3, especially since it wasn't that great of a remake. I mean,
Yes.
That's when you make the difference here. Like you had the opportunity to literally make a difference here. Come out with the same game that you had on 3, make it free to play. Make this part of that, like you can play this or this. You make your choice. Like it's one menu. Here's your 2 choices, and then whatever one more people are playing, that's the one you build on.
I mean,
You
it
got
feels
2
like that's
options
kind of
there.
what they're doing, where they're like beta testing these games by tacking them onto their other content and seeing what works and what doesn't, instead of being like, here's a standalone. We don't know if we're going to actually commit to this. Please beta test it for us, and then we will move on from there. But instead, you want us to pay whatever price it is for the remake of the game that we're not actually playing in order to test the thing that you
But
want
like you
us to
said,
test.
it's an old school. It's definitely an old school mentality, because it's one of those where, like, if you think about it, like if you go to the Uncharted series, they had a multiplayer that was added onto it. The Last of Us had a multiplayer that was added onto it, and it's that's how multiplayer used to be.
Speaking of that,
and now we get a campaign with the multiplayer from Call of Duty, but it's like,
but that's exactly what they used to do, though. Thinking about it, they always tacked on mercenaries to the game. They always tacked on their extra modes.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just one of those things where it's like, it seems like they're trying to make it a focal point and build something that people are going to play for a while, but they really don't want to put that much thought or resources into it. It's an afterthought that they feel like they have to put on there.
Buy it. Let me buy Resistance, damn it. I know it keeps dropping to $20, but it's still like, you got to put Resident Evil 3 in your library.
The problem with that too is some people don't know that there's a multiplayer that's attached to that, so they're not buying Resident Evil 3 because they don't know there's a multiplayer to play with it. You know, it's not something that was highly advertised.
It is on sale, by the way, for $20. If anybody,
I think all of the Resident Evil stuff is on sale right now, but it's through the weekend, so by the time this comes out, it may not be.
Yeah, tomorrow, today at 11, the sale ended. So if you missed out, that sucks for you. I tried to give you a heads up, but you're in the future, and I can't talk to you yet.
I can't talk to you yet.
The other thing that they showed off, now that I'm like, Reverse just doesn't look good. Resistance looked good. They need to after a while just kind of unstick them and let them go their separate ways. The other thing they showed off was Netflix's Resident Evil Infinite Darkness, which does look really good. It takes place just a few years after Resident Evil 4, and it stars Leon and Claire. A fresh story, something entirely new. So it'll be nice to see Leon again right after 4. So that one looks good. I was excited for that. We didn't see anything about Resident Evil 4, but what the rumors going around is that Capcom has seen what the company or what the studio working on Resident Evil 4 was doing, and they have taken it away from them. And was like, no, because they're also the group that made Resident Evil 3, which makes me feel that they were trying to cut a lot and trying to streamline the game a little harder. And after the backlash that 3 got, because 3 was okay, but first of all, you made the puzzles so fucking easy that they were almost non-existent. You cut out like 60% of the game. It just was not there, especially following up to Resident Evil 2.
The remake was a joke.
Yeah, like the biggest joke ever.
Instead of it constantly being like a fear of him just popping up and talking like the Mr. X was, it was all scripted events.
Yep. Yeah. It really took away from the holy shit. It was more like, oh, okay, he's going to pop up around this corner. I know where he's going to be. It's all scripted. And that's just bad. So they have given it to another company or another studio that's working on it, and they want it done right. Because, first of all, Resident Evil 4 is one of the most iconic Resident Evil games, and you cannot fuck it up. That will hurt you beyond belief. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully they'll give us Mercenaries with that one on the side. And I will say, because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a move and shoot like Resident Evil 4 or Resident Evil 2 remake was, but that's going to take a lot of time because they're going to have to redesign all of the enemies based on that. So, because that game was designed around you stopping, and the enemies are a little bit slower, and their attacks are more telegraphed, but it was nice being able to shoot the weapons out of their hands and shoot them in the knees and suplexing and things like that. But if you were able to move, it's going to be a lot different because they're going to try to move a little faster with you, or I don't know. I'm excited. I want to see it. I'm a little hesitant because of Resident Evil 3 remake, but them changing studios after Capcom was like, nah, dog, you ain't doing this, gets me a little bit, it makes me feel a little bit better because I know they know what we want. So hopefully when it comes out, it will be good, and I'm down. I'm down with waiting. Do what you have to do to make Resident Evil 4 remake good. Make it perfect. Anything less than perfection just is gonna put shame on Capcom.
Shame.
Because Resident Evil 2 was really good. Resident Evil 2 remake was probably one of the best games, one of the best horror survival games made. because it was
It
really
was
good.
up for like game of the year or whatever too.
Yeah, when it came out, yeah, that game was really good. And a game like Resident Evil 4 should only be improved upon. It should not be cut or Frankenstein together or
I think
whatever.
there's this mentality of especially when it comes to like the Resident Evil, like the classic style Resident Evil games, even the classic style Silent Hill games, because of how clunky the controls were, how games were built then versus the way they're built now, that there's this thought process, especially with newer artists, that's they kind of want to modernize what's happening. But I think when we want a new iteration of a game, that's what you should do. You should modernize it. I think they did that really well with 7. Making it to where it was a first person and everybody was like, what are we doing? And I think that's when you make your innovative move. You don't do it with something that everybody's familiar with, and this is why we love the game type thought process. And I think that's where they kind of screwed up with that, with 3, based on what you all have told me 60% of the plot line gone, basically. It's like, come on, man.
It's just meh. As much as I like Resident Evil 3, it's way too short and way too scripted, especially with how well if it came out by itself, fine, it's a pretty good game, but coming out with that right after you came out Resident Evil 2 remake, it's like, who decided to put the fucking production in reverse? Why did you do that?
But I think even if those were brand new games, like if Resident Evil 2 came out that way and then Resident Evil 3 came out that way and they weren't remakes, the reaction would be the same. Because it's like, I had so much fun playing this game, and then what's this garbage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, wow, this game is super long, lots of puzzles and things like that. Also, during it, they made, the way they stated it, and it goes without saying, there will be plenty of puzzles to do. So they heard the feedback from 3, and they're like, okay, don't worry, there will be plenty of puzzles. Mm-hmm. Like their mainline games are good. Resident Evil 8 looks incredible. I will probably buy it right away, play it just because it looks good so far. And they're also not showing off Ethan's face either. They're going the Master Chief route. You do not know what Ethan looks like, so he's our mysterious hero.
So I have a question with all this announcement that took place, because we had a little bit of it in your Discord. So there's demos available currently right now for the PS5. It's a walkthrough. You can die, but it's one of those where it's like you're walking through. There's no actual combat demo, and it's exclusive for the PS5. And during the announcement, they made the announcement that for the Xbox and PC versions of the game, there will be a different demo to play. Do you think it's going to be another plot line following another character similar to the way this demo is? Because the demo actually, or do you think what do you think it's going to be?
I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the first part of the game. 100%, like, because with Resident Evil 4, the demo that they used to do was just like the first little section of the game, and it's the same thing what they did with Resident Evil 7. It was the first little section of the game. So with this one, I guarantee it's going to be the first little section of the game. That's why they did something specific for PS5, because they actually wanted to give you like a plot line. Sony paid them a lot of money for something specific, so they're like, all right, we could do this for you. I bet we'll get it later, but they paid for it, so they want it first.
I'm sure it'll be like an add-on to the game after it's shortly released type thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep, for sure.
But that's my Capcom, or that's my Resident Evil thing. I was super excited. I think I hit it in the middle of the road for me. Some of the parts were really good. Some of the parts were meh, and I'm excited for 8. Mainline games look so fucking good.
But where you're going to be fighting vampires and werewolves.
Yes, I cannot wait for them to explain to me how that stuff works. It's got to be like you have to bring the game back around to the lore inside of Resident Evil, because you kind of got that in 7 towards the end, where they started explaining how this shit worked, and it tied a little bit to the Resident Evil universe, but you've really got to bring it back if you want to explain werewolves and vampire ladies and things like that.
Yeah.
Not the T-virus combined with certain animals.
Yeah, it's possible. Certain animals get infected, bite people with the virus, and changes them. So
That could be a possibility.
yeah, I'm interested. I'm open minded. I'm down to play it and see what they've got to offer me in terms of lore.
I mean, other thing
ahead.
that you can still look forward to is, because I know Chicken was looking forward to the upcoming Bayonetta game. Still don't know when, but hopefully there'll be updates this year. You know, you can still be excited about that at least.
Give me a fucking hat trick. Give me a third game that's 10 out of 10. And holy shit, if Bayonetta 3 comes out and it gets a 10 out of 10, that will be all 3 Bayonetta games perfect scores. That'll be like the perfect trilogy. Which, I mean, some games are really good, but they have their highs and lows, but I don't think we've ever had like 2 games back to back that were like perfect. Which
Yeah,
I've played
for sure.
both of them, and they are nearly perfect. The story is incredible, the game is incredible. Everything in Bayonetta is great.
The combat is fun, and it's
Yes.
challenging, which is
Yes.
I remember Chicken enjoying
Yes.
it very much.
It is incredible. I love that game. Cannot wait for the third one. I really want to see a hat trick from these guys because, I mean, come on. You just get Bayonetta 1, 10 out of 10. Bayonetta 2, 10 out of 10. Bayonetta 3, of course, 10 out of 10.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean,
Hopefully, 10 out of 10.
let's see. Is there anything else that's kind of quick? I think
a little bit. I mean, this is it's quick news because it got turned around. I don't think it's really that big of a deal. But originally, actually, in one day, Microsoft decided that they were going to double the price of Xbox Live Gold. And so instead of paying basically $60 for 12 months, you were going to pay that same amount for 6 months. And they did that, I think, just to shove Ultimate down everybody's throat to get them to start getting Game Pass Ultimate.
Yes.
But the internet won at the end of the day. A lot of people were very unhappy about it. They did full reverse on it. In fact, they not only full reversed. One of the things with Xbox that's has been a thing for a very long time is why their servers have worked for so long is because gold. You had to have gold in order to be able to use their servers in order to be able to play even free to play games. They're actually even looking at that and making it to where games like Warzone, Fortnite, things like that, you won't have to have gold anymore in order to be able to play it. So they're kind of listening to the community a little bit, which is pretty awesome. But it's been like 20 years since they raised the price really significantly. So they're still going to have to raise the price at some point. So I guess they just need to do it better.
I think
Or just get rid of Xbox Gold. I don't know why you have to pay to play online anyway anymore.
because, dude, they have to support
Look at
their
Steam.
servers
I can play all the
somehow.
games for free. They can
Yeah,
play
but
the
these
Steam
two have
also,
their
that's
servers.
the whole reason that Epic made such a big deal about we don't take as much off the top on our platform is because Steam does take it off the top to facilitate keeping up the servers and everything. So technically, you kind of are paying for it just by purchasing through them.
Not Red Dead Online. Rockstar runs their own servers, and I don't have to pay monthly, or I don't have to pay monthly
Yeah,
to
but
play
Rockstar
Rockstar
makes
games
so
online.
much money hand over fist that they really don't. I mean, they
But,
can get away with that. Not every game
As
can.
consumers, we have to pay for internet to our house, and then we have to pay for internet to play on Xbox.
I don't
too.
disagree with you. I mean, the whole idea of internet being a service
'Cause
is a thing, but
But
also,
us playing Comcast doesn't put money in Microsoft's pocket.
yeah.
Like, it
I
doesn't.
mean, us paying for
You know,
that
they're
service
separate
doesn't pay
businesses.
for another
Everybody
service.
uses that excuse, but it's like just because.
Well, I mean, you got to pay for
if you turn around
Netflix.
and-
What's your argument against that? You should get it for free because you have the internet. You still have to pay for it
Yeah.
as a streaming service because they have licensing things they have to pay for.
I don't have to pay Google to open up their internet browser.
No, you don't.
That's
They
a
just
browser.
bombard me
The-
with
the
ads.
pay for it.
Yes.
So I mean, the alternative, I guess,
Exactly.
is have an ad pop up in the middle of your game just before you start.
Oh,
It can be
that's
like
the
mobile
future.
services.
Yes.
That's the
I
future.
do. To go back to the actual story here, though, I do think it seems very jarring for them to be like, okay, instead of it being $60 for a one-time payment, it's $120 for a one-time payment. But I also wonder if they got that just because they looked at the amount of people paying monthly versus the amount of people paying the one-time upfront. Because if you pay monthly, it's the same price. It's $10. It's basically $10 a month, so you're paying $120 for the year if you pay it monthly. I just wonder if that's for some reason a more popular payment method than paying. And so they were like,
It
well,
is.
obviously people are
It's-
going to pay this anyway. We just make them pay it one
It's
time or make them pay it every
ridiculous
month.
how many people pay monthly for things. it is so expensive when you just pay per month instead of buying 6 to 12 months.
But here's how you have to look at it, though. It is expensive to pay for it that way, but sometimes people have $10 a month that they can spare instead of $60 at one time. It's just...
Save for 6 months, and you get a whole year at that price.
See, you say that, but I was that person when I was still living in Texas. I was paying for it on a monthly basis because I could spare $10, but I couldn't throw down $60 at one time.
The other thing about that is let's say that you go, all right, cool, I want to go ahead and get my Xbox stuff. Let's say it stayed at let's say it's at the $60. I want to go ahead and get my gold. I'm paying my $60 right now, and I did that in February, okay? And then the next February, I'm still paying that payment, but then a week later, I'm like, oh, there's this new service out there that I want to pay. Let me go ahead and get the year one of that. And so the next year you do that again for a different service, and you forget that all of it's coming out in February, and then 3 years down the road, you all of a sudden have $180 that's taken out of your account at one time versus, all right, I can budget a lot better figuring this is $10, and the next month I know I can do that. You can budget that a lot better.
If you're budgeting and you forget about something, then that just seems to be an error on your part.
Well, that's kind of how auto pays make a lot of money. People forget they do things like sub to Twitch channels and whatnot, and so they never go and turn them off because they're auto paying.
And I have done that once, and I have not, and I forgot about it, and I paid 6 months for some bullshit. And trust me, everything that I pay monthly for, I fucking pay attention. As an adult, it is kind of our fiscal responsibility to pay attention what we are spending our money on.
You're not incorrect, but also you're dealing with people that make money off of us making mistakes. That's how that works.
I do think that you're right there.
Why do you think gyms stay in business?
They were trying to convince people to go with the Game Pass, which does include, or the Ultimate, which does include your gold. I think that's a smarter...
They need to just get rid of gold and just put it into the Game Pass. Like, just make your Game Pass how you play online on Xbox.
But I don't understand the people that are upset if they did do something like that, because that's kind of what they were trying to get you to do, was just commit to Game Pass so that it had your gold included in it by making gold incredibly expensive. I don't understand people's like, hold up, wait a minute now, I don't want that many services. Like,
there's a lot of people that are that way, and I actually had this argument with somebody online about it, and he goes, well, my wife refuses to pay for all these services and everything else. She likes the physical copy. And I'm like, okay, if she has an Xbox and she's buying a first party game, the day it comes out, she's paying $60. So the next time a first party game comes out, she's paying $60. So she just paid for the entire year based on the increase that they were trying to do, right? Or she could pay $14.99 a month or whatever Ultimate is, and she could end up with 100 games that she can choose from, including all the first party games. And then if she wants a physical copy, go to somewhere that sells used copies of it when the price is dropped crazily, and go buy it for $15 if you want to have a copy of it, instead of having to worry about it being brand new and not looking at the full picture. Because that's why we have these services. I don't buy brand new movies very often anymore because I have Netflix and Prime and all this other stuff I spend money on. Why go out and purchase a brand new movie when it comes out? It's the same thing with this. I think it's interesting
to see how the mentalities have changed, because when it was me and Oak doing this show, just the two of us, that's how long ago this has been, I was one of the ones that was arguing I want my physical copy, because at the time they were just starting to do digital, and at the time there was some issues with digital where it's like if your internet connection's not connected, it's not recognizing your game license, so having the physical copy allows you to play even without a connection and things like that. But you kind of have to, like, as the technology improves and that becomes less and less of a problem. I mean, it's still a problem now and then with some games where you have to have that internet connection or else it's not going to recognize. But I think now it would do that with the physical copy too. You just kind of have to progress in your views of things, because I'm that way now, where it's like, I'll just get the digital unless it's something that I, like, dearly want the box for as just a memento to be on the shelf or something. But most of my stuff is PC now, and that's all digital download. You don't own the physical copy of any of that stuff. So it just... And that's the thing about... to catch up.
Being an adult, being a well-adjusted adult, is being able to change and adapt to the times as technology develops. And yes, that goes for generations and generations before us. Some people get old and cranky and stuck in their ways. We're in a young generation of the internet. Do not get stuck in 2010. Do not get stuck in 2010, because by 2030 you're gonna look like you live in the Stone Age. It's a constantly evolving medium, and we have to keep moving forward with it. There are always options for people who like to do physical. You just do what Oak said, and it's a perfect idea. You want the physical? Go get yourself a used copy. If the disc doesn't work, you still got the fucking digital copy you can play.
Well, and the other thing about that is too, okay, how do you know you want to buy this game? You watched a trailer for it?
Yeah,
So
now
you're
we are
gonna go
definitely
pay $60 or pre-ordered the game, which we've already discussed. Stop doing that shit.
Don't
But you go out and you got the game, you brought it home, you paid $60 for it. Maybe you did like it, maybe you didn't. But if it's a first-party Xbox game, there's no reason anymore to pay full price for these games. I put more hours in Sea of Thieves than I probably have any other game. I paid for the game because of the fact that when we played the alpha, we played the beta of the version, I knew I was going to put money into to Rare because they deserved it. But I tell everybody, don't buy the game. Until you've played the game, don't buy. If you want to go buy a physical copy of it or buy a digital copy of it, that's fine. But as long as it's available and all their first-party games are available on that, that's what you need to stick with.
Yeah.
Now, what are they going to do when they get 100 games that are first-party? I'm assuming they're going to go to 200 games available on their Game Pass. That's what I assume is going to happen. You know, it's not going to be a rotation in and out. It's going to be, you know, an add-on. I mean, they've already added EA onto it. Just, I don't know. I just think people are not looking full picture at all. And EA games right now on Ultimate, I'm assuming are using part of the Microsoft servers as well. So
like if you pay for Xbox Gold, stop. Just buy the fucking Ultimate version. If you pay for Gold on your Xbox, stop. Get the Game Pass. It's what, a couple dollars more, and you get access to a shitload more. Just do it. It's so fucking worth it.
Word.
It's so worth it.
It's like when Netflix went to digital.
Pass.
They used to be, for those youngins that are out there that might be listening, Netflix wasn't a digital service. It was a mail-in service for DVDs and Blu-rays. Well, DVDs at the time was it. And you got in the mail and you got the stuff and then you sent it back. You know,
you remember those
when
days,
you were done
Grif?
with it, or if you forget, you're paying for it every month. You're still paying for a thing, and then if you lose it, you're out $100 because they charge you an astronomical amount for the damn thing.
Yeah.
So, like, just know how lucky you are to live in a generation that's completely digital, pretty much nowadays. But I like my physical copies too. If you walk into my side room that's over here, it's literally full of Blu-rays, DVDs, and all that shit. So, and then I've got a ton of Xbox and PlayStation games that are sitting right next to me over on a shelf. So, I get it. But don't be dumb.
Don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid.
Microsoft news is Sea of Thieves.
Yep, we can continue on with that. That'll work.
Okay.
I don't know how to start on that one. I guess basically the I don't want to say long awaited for, because I don't believe anybody really wants this, but cool. Somebody does. Somebody wants this. Sea of Thieves, there's season 1, which means every 3 months we're gonna have a new season. Like every other fucking video game ever right now. They're gonna have seasons starting January the 28th. Season 1 starting. About every 3 months they'll end up with the next season. It will include where you can purchase their version of a battle pass, which they're calling a plunder pass. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a leveling system, which is the free one for every season, and then you have the plunder pass, which you can buy and get it. Now, I hope, because I've played Red Dead Online, and Red Dead's battle pass is fucking terrible. I think it's stupid. You get like one thing every 50-something levels, and there's 100 levels, so you only, like, for the free version, you only get like 2 fucking things, and it sucks. Hopefully with this one, you will have actual progress and things that you can unlock for free. Like, I don't want them shoving the buy the plunder pass down my throat.
It appears as though they're doing an XP system of some sort based on activities you're doing actually in the world. It's not necessarily going out and saying, okay, I'm going to go do a bunch of this for the emissary, and that's going to give me it. Of course, that would give you more XP, but let's say you have an hour to spare and you're like, I'm gonna play a little bit of Sea of Thieves. Let me go out and fish a little bit or whatever, just to kind of chill and do all that stuff. Just being in the game and doing something is going to give you points to go towards it. So they are making you be inactive, and that's why I want to see what's happening with it. Because if it's something like that to where the casual player can still increase and those levels increase, I'm cool with that.
And
what I
unlock
don't want
things.
is
You got to be able to unlock things still casually.
Yeah, and so but the diehards that are, you know, I don't want it to necessarily favor them in that respect. Like, you're going to have those people in week 1 that already hit whatever their 100 mark is, but you know, I don't want it to be to where the rest of us feel like, okay, what am I doing here? And then the little plunder pass, I'm probably going to buy it the first month out just because I want to see personally, depending on the price, because I don't think it's listed, but I want to see what the extras are it's on it. Is it worth it to even do this? And then also, and we might know ahead of time, it might be one of those things where it's kind of set up the same way that the battle passes are set up for Call of Duty, which is it actually tells you what it would unlock if you did it. And then I'm also interested to see if it shoots you up forward, like, you know, 15 or 20 if you were to purchase it, that it gives you a couple of levels as well along with that.
Yeah.
And how they've set that system up. I'm not sure if I want it in the game or not, and I won't know. As Chicken and I were talking about ahead of time, we can't bitch about something if we haven't tried it.
Yes.
And so we just need to play it and figure it out.
Yep, Thursday. We will talk about it next week, guaranteed, because I will be playing it Friday, more than likely Friday and Saturday, to really
I'll be
get
playing it Friday night as
feel
well.
for it. So, that's that.
We'll find out about that.
All right, a little quickie news. It looks like there's going to be a new PUBG related console and PC game that's set for sometime next year. So the company Crafton, which is currently creating the Callisto Protocol, if you remember that, I think it was on Game Awards, was one of the ones that was on there. It looks like a horror survival game. Looks like those same people are involved.
Okay.
So I don't know if, I mean, PUBG it's still around, so maybe it'll do halfway decent. I'm just not a big PUBG fan myself.
Yeah.
Meh. I used to be. It was a lot of fun. Spent a lot of hours in that game.
I guess a good thing they're doing.
Until it became all about buying shit for their stupid loot boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got real fucking crowded.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is what it is. I guess it's a good thing they're making a second one instead of continuing on to fix that one, because we all know how spaghetti things can get. So maybe that's
A lot
better.
of spaghetti in that game. A lot of spaghetti in that game.
Spaghetti.
Yeah. What else we got?
It's kind of like Ark, where it's like, we're not going to fix the spaghetti code. We're just going to make a sequel.
We give up on trying to fix this. Here's the new one. Buy it.
Another quickie news. Lucasfilm Games has been resurrected. It looks like it's probably going to be the Lego game based on the Skywalker saga that's probably going to have it up there for the first time. Lucasfilm Games was the original, I think the original version of LucasArts, and then it became LucasArts, and then that went away once 2012 when Disney purchased it. And now it's coming back, and I'm hoping that means that Disney and at least somebody is in there going, EA, stop screwing up our games.
Yeah.
I guarantee that's what they're saying.
So now we're going to spread it out across different people and do what they used to do.
They announced that EA is not getting the license renewal.
Yeah, I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah,
that it's not gonna.
I don't think
They
they're
won't be
getting the
exclusive to
license
EA
back.
anymore, which will be so nice. But it would
Yeah,
also
'cause
be
they
nice,
wanna- they
even
wanna
if they
spread it
were
out.
still exclusive, for there to be a parent that has to be like, Lucasfilm Games has to be like, no, we see what you're doing in development with that, but no, don't do that. You know?
Well, there's a
quality
rumor going
control would
around
be
too
nice.
that there is a new KOTOR game coming out that is not going to be EA. So, which I don't know how you. I mean, I guess Star Wars is owned by Disney, so I guess Disney has the rights; they can hand it to whoever they want to.
Yeah,
But
I guess so.
that's going to be interesting. That's the case,
Interesting.
definitely.
I wonder if it's going to be like the MMO, or it's going to be like the actual
Story games?
It's supposed to be a remake, I think, of the original or something similar to that. So, which I guess would allow for you to, if you're remaking it, wouldn't matter what studio it would be going with on that one.
Interesting.
Just kind of have to see.
We got 2 things left. Which one do you want to talk about first? People not getting paid, or an address about a screw up?
Let's do the not paid, because the other one is kind of goes back to the beginning of the show.
Okay. Celeste B-side. They're the composers that worked on that soundtrack, which, by the way, that soundtrack is on Steam for additional $5 alongside the game. Yeah, they haven't been paid royalties in like 2 years because reasons, I guess. To be fair, this is not really fair or anything. It's Materia Collective is the record label, essentially, that is in charge of paying them. These people are not the only ones that haven't been paid, and they were like, got all these outraged tweets and everything all at once, basically. People jumping on going, yeah, they haven't paid us either, and they're finally like, everything will be paid by February. We're so sorry. We have no idea how this happened. It's like, right. What do you mean you have no idea? You didn't realize that you weren't paying people? What? Like, this is literally the only thing you, as the label, had to manage was making sure that everybody gets paid, and you're like, we don't know what happened. That does not ensure confidence in your future releases.
To any developer out there, I'm going to tell you this right now, and this goes to the developers. In music industry, you only have one choice. That's it. You pay your artist. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to developers, your musicians are just as important as the people drawing and the people that are having to program and do all that stuff. They're all equal across the board, because your game, like, think of how many Halo 2 soundtracks were sold back in the day, because just how good the music alone was. And now you make a good album that people like and everything else, and then these people are getting paid from a freaking music company? Mm-hmm. Like, come on, man.
Well, I mean, I think it's just insult to injury, because it's not even that their music is in the game and they haven't gotten kickback from it. It's that their soundtrack is being sold alongside the game too. So it is actually being purchased, and they're not getting any of the money from those purchases. What the? Nope. Come on, man. Seriously?
I like it how they were like, we're gonna stop everything else we're doing until these people are paid. And I'm like, you had 1.5 years to do that.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, it's not like it's one artist either. There are several, and they're like, if you are an artist that haven't been paid by us, please let us know. It's like, isn't it your job to look at your bookkeeping and see who you haven't sent checks to? Is there no organization at your company? What do you do for taxes?
By having extra money around.
Right. Well, and the guy, Too Mellow or whatever his name was, the thing about him that kind of brought it to everybody's attention, he's already messaged him on 3 different occasions. The only reason he went to the internet, he did exactly what you're supposed to do.
Contact the company. Responding to him. Like, what the junk?
And then he ended up going, all right, I got to go to the internet now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He even apologized kind of for doing it.
Internet helped me get my money.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and of course, if you're Materia, you're like, oh no, because now there are more people coming out that are like, yeah, us too. It's like, see, if you would have paid this one dude, you could have probably continued to not pay a bunch of other dudes. But no, you should pay everybody that does work for you, though. Don't be that company. I'm just saying. So, hopefully that'll be taken care of. I guess hopefully we'll get an update to that next month.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get an update.
So,
just be careful.
Hopefully they get it.
Last thing on here, of course, we've been playing through Cyberpunk 2077, as Grif said at the beginning of the show. The developers have actually come out with an apology video.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure how everybody else feels about the apology video that was sent out. He did kind of explain what had happened. Don't blame the people that are actually working on the game. Blame me and the rest of the board for wanting to push it out there. We made the decision ourselves. And basically said the console version of the game is shit and the PC version is pretty decent, but we're sorry that the other one's shit. That type of thing. They'll try to do better in the future.
Well, and they gave a roadmap for things that they had planned to, like when we should expect patches and things like that, stuff that they know they're actively working on, which, I mean, it's good that you did this. It's bad that you had to do this,
Right.
So I think now the main thing is going to be you've given us a roadmap. You have to stick to it. You have to put these patches out when you said that you're going to, because you gave us this roadmap with the knowledge that you are working on these things, and it will be this long before you're ready to unveil them and things like that.
Let me tell you a group that's learned their lesson. I don't know if you noticed on the roadmap, but it just says 2021 has gaps, tells you when the patches are going to be, has a bigger gap that says these are when DLC is going to happen.
Yes.
There are no dates anywhere.
No.
It's like, and then they have 2022 at the end. That's it.
But we do know that patch 1.1 and 1.2 are supposed to be relatively close to each other. Patch 1.1 just came out. I updated my game yesterday, and I haven't gotten to play it since. I don't know what
It was pretty sizable too, like 17 gig or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty big. It's supposed to be for NPC behaviors in some cases and things like that. I haven't gotten it tested out yet. I know on console some people say they haven't seen a difference. But I can't tell if I haven't seen a difference or I'm taking this chance to take another swing at a game that I'm mad at still, because it seems like some of the things I've read are in that vein.
To be fair, back in December when they said they were going to release the patches ahead of time, they said this was right after Sony dropped them from their shop. They said that the console version, it's the second patch that's supposed to help the console version.
Okay.
Sometime in February. So hopefully we'll see a difference there for those people.
Yeah. But even on PC, I've seen some people on Reddit and whatnot being like, this patch didn't do this, it just broke this, and you fix one thing and it breaks 11 billion other things. It's like, this game is so broken to start with that I'm surprised you noticed it broke something else.
Coding. It's kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Fix one issue and something else works.
But I think now it's on them to try to stick to, we're going to get you updates, we're going to make progress, and them being transparent enough to be like, this is what we're working on, this is when this will be available to you, this is what we're fixing right now, this is what we're fixing with the next patch. You have to earn that goodwill back, and be transparent with your progress about it. Because one of the problems was the lack of transparency before the game even came out, with launch or the review copies not even unlocking until 24 hours before launch or something like that, so that people were reviewing things, they couldn't play enough of it really to put out a review before the launch of the game, and that was by design because they knew it was coming out in a state like that. And it's just,
well, I think and here's the thing about it is, everyone needs to pay attention to what is happening with some of these companies. Like when you had No Man's Sky that was doing, now you got Cyberpunk that's one of those, and we're not even going to talk about Fallout 76, but when you see what these companies are doing, and if you're wanting to get into the development world at some point, you have to make sure that you're doing every single thing you can to be honest in everything that's up there. Like when Sea of Thieves was first released, one of the things that we loved was the fact that we knew every single day on Reddit or wherever on YouTube, you could go and there was something that they were telling you, okay, we know the servers are having problems. We've got so much people coming in. This is what we're correcting. This is the problems that we have, blah, 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 blah. Every day we have some type of information on it. Communication's key now. There's no reason in today's day and age where you have the possibility of communicating every day that you don't have someone communicating. Every one of these companies has somebody that's a social
like an HR
their manager for their social networks. So when you and these people are making good money doing it too, so just give them the money and have them do it. It's just, I don't understand the lack of communication, and I don't think people would have been pissed, don't get me wrong, but I don't think anybody would have been as pissed as they were if they had literally said, guys, our timeline's completely changed. We've got a global pandemic that's changed the world completely, ours included, because like he says in the video, there's things that can't be conveyed by email. We took that for granted, right? They literally could have said that at the beginning and said, we're not going to release until 2022. If you want to cancel your pre-order right now, awesome, but we got to put the right game out there for you. And I think that would have been ideal. Mm-hmm. They just didn't do it, and this is what we have now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were just, I feel like this is how the internet and stuff like that can be a double-edged sword. One, they advertised it way too soon. They started talking about launch dates way too soon before they were even close to ready. If you're not close to ready, don't announce a launch date. Just say we're coming. We can't tell you when yet. But once they did announce launch dates and it got pushed back, the internet got volatile about that too. And they're like, give us the game. Just give it to us. Okay, so they did what you wanted and just gave you the game, and now you're mad about it again. Like, there's just no winning here.
Yep.
And it's what the internet asked for. It's like that stupid idiot that puts their, like, the stove is hot. I want to put my hand on it anyway, does so, and then is mad that they got burned. It's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? You demanded something that you were told shouldn't be, and I mean, there's reasons that it shouldn't be. It's just, I don't know what you were thinking or what you expected.
That they were special and that they were immune.
I mean, it's not like game devs are hiding the games from you because they think it's funny. This game is finished and fully polished, but we're going to continue to push it back because hee. They're not doing it for hype, especially not in the case of Cyberpunk, which had already been pushed back a couple of times. If it gets pushed back more than once, it's not for hype anymore. It's because shit's broken.
Mm-mm.
And if you keep asking for it, I mean...
And nobody wants to push their game back. It's already cost them enough money to development, in this case, 4 years. And, you know, so you've already had that amount of money put into the game that you're not receiving anything back off of until the game's released.
Yeah.
So they're trying to force this game out, but they were like, we can't, because it's not where it needs to be.
Until finally they're like, okay, well, if that's what you want, here's this hot mess. It's a hot mess. Okay, now you're angry that it's a hot mess. I don't know what you want from me.
Right.
Like, just don't announce game launch dates until you are sure that you are 3 months from ready to launch it, you know? That is plenty enough hype time.
Steve Jobs is shit. I'm telling you, if people would just like Steve Jobs it, we're good to go. That's back to the Bayonetta 3. There were rumors going around that Bayonetta 3 had been canceled, and they're not going to announce anything until it's down to where they know they're about to release this game.
But that's definitely a Nintendo thing. Like, they wait until their shit is solid as a rock. It should be an
everybody thing, though.
That's an old school mentality, because you have this. The old school mentality is that I've got to release this game, but it's got to be perfect, because there were no updates back in the day. Nintendo still knows that they don't want the Switch to be about that. They want the Switch to be, I put a cartridge in and it works. And all these developers need to have that same mentality and say, well, we'll just patch it day one.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is we'll just patch it day one, which means you found that many problems that needed to be fixed 45 days or less away from launch, because that's usually what your print window is going to be at minimum. Like, your closest print to launch is going to be 45 days out. So a month and a half, and you were like, oh, stuff's still broken. I guess we'll just go ahead and print that. We'll fix it. We got a month and a half. Like, no, stop that. Because every time it's like the coding thing that we just talked about. Every time you fix one thing, something else is going to break. I don't know why you all haven't decided that this is how it is. It's because we still buy these games the second they come out, though. En masse.
Yep.
And I mean, I bought a copy of Cyberpunk when it came out, but it's a company, again, I am selective when I do that. I bought a CD Projekt Red game because they have had a pretty good reputation this whole time, and the game is a game that I actually enjoyed, but I am always very selective when doing so. And would I buy the next CD Projekt Red game on launch? Maybe not. Kind of depends on how they fix this.
Well, and to be fair, Witcher 3 was delayed twice, and it was one of those where it still had some bugs when it was released.
Yes.
But they were repaired quickly, not to the same degree of problems that they had this time, but it was one of those things where it was quickly remedied. And I think that's where we have a hard time with moving forward. People are so impatient now because they're used to everything being right then. Or maybe they want their favorite streamer.
Gimme.
You know, maybe they're like, Chicken needs to play this game, so it needs to be out, you know? But they need to stop. Like, they just needs to literally be to where it's like, let them finish the game at their own pace. It's almost like everybody is forgotten because it's such a big business. It makes more money than any other media does in the world together. So it's like, why not look at it for what it really is, which is art. And I'm not going to sit there and tell somebody that's painting a portrait of me to hurry up. You know, or a painting that I like, this landscape that's there, I need you to hurry because I'm going to get a shit product at the end of the day. It's the same thing with a video game. Give it time for them to develop what it needs to be and be okay with that.
It's like, do you want it done fast or do you want it done right? Those are your choices.
Correct. Yep.
If you want it done right, it's going to take as long as it takes.
Some of theme things I've been seeing. There was the handrail for the stairs with the wooden horse carved in it, and then the other one with the horse taped to it.
Yeah,
That's funny. I have not seen it, but yeah,
they want.
I haven't
But
either, but I
they're
like
only
the
giving
description.
me this time to do it in and this budget, so this is what they got.
yeah.
Yep.
and that's why Resident Evil 4 Remake is like, take your fucking time, do it right. Or Metroid 4, which I know Nintendo is going to release a perfect Metroid 4 because they are so critical of their quality. So just take your time. Get off
That's also
the whole
why
hype
Nintendo
boat
scrapped
train.
what they had and started redoing it all again. I mean,
'Cause they're not
want a
afraid.
Metroid game.
Nintendo is not afraid to be like, this is garbage, get rid of it. We're going to restart entirely.
Well, and they've got the money to back that, right? So
Especially
that helps.
after other M for the Wii, how that one did. They're like, no, let's redo this.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man. Well,
Anything else?
I gotta go play
There
Skyrim.
is one thing that I wanted to throw out there for food for thought. It's a patent that Microsoft just recently got, and it's morally and ethically
Questionable.
questionable. They have gotten the green light on a new patent allowing the company to revive dead people by turning their digital and real life footprints into AI chatbots. So after somebody dies, the AI can scour the internet for every single footprint you have ever left and use that to create a AI version of you. And our generation, us, right here, and the kids that come from us will have footprints all over the internet to build from.
So it's basically Upload.
Yeah, I mean,
It's the show Upload.
And
except
that's why I
for
said
it's a
it's
digital
morally and
version of
ethically
you.
a little.
Like it's an AI. It's not really you anymore. So I mean, it's got to be at a point where it gets to like, I don't know if you've ever messed with the AI chatbot Cleverbot, but at some point you get to like, you're like, this might be a real person that I'm talking to. This has to be a real person, and then all of a sudden you get like an answer to a question that is completely off the wall and weird, and you're like, oh wait, never mind. It's got to be like that, where you're like talking to your loved one, which also is weird. Like, dear grandma, I know that you're dead, but I love that I can still instant message you on AIM. And grandma's like, yes, isn't this awesome? I miss you.
Hey,
Well,
this is why it's just a food for thought kind of thing, and this is just the beginning. Everybody knows technology only goes one way.
See, I don't want that. I just want an
Eventually-
AI assistant that I can pick, like, the character of. Let me have, like, a
it's gonna
Cortana,
be
actual
AI.
Cortana and things like that, you know?
But eventually you're going to be able to hire people, AIs to be your assistant of real people, and then
I
that
wanna be
family
of
could
real
get part of that
people.
income because you hired their dead
Deceased
mother
person.
from
Ew.
87
No.
years ago,
No,
and
I don't
she's
like
still
that.
bringing
But I mean that's
Welcome
where
to capitalism.
certain regulations and stuff come in too. There's gonna be a regulation of some sort on that. Because I mean my thought
in
process
180
is like,
years, because
Well,
we still have
no, well,
shit
I mean-
regulations for the internet.
well, you never know. But it's one of those where, like, you know, I lost my father a few years ago, and if there was an app that would go through and find things of my father and stuff like that, I would feel weird about it just because of the fact that doesn't help with grief. It actually hurts with grief because
'Cause
part
you're-
of grief is being able to get over and have that closure. And if you
Yeah.
have that person still there in some respect, it's hard to
Well,
get
you can
past
fool
that.
yourself into thinking they are still there instead of dealing with it.
There is actually a Black Mirror episode exactly based on this. Exactly
Black Mirror
based
is
on this.
strangely correct on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yes, like it's crazy how accurate this is because you call it and it creates an AI footprint of this person, and then eventually it gets into a synthetic body, and then next thing you know, you're looking at this person that has deceased, and it's like we're treading into very dangerous territory with this kind of technology. So
Well, I mean,
I
at
wanted
some
to bring
point,
this up because we're gonna.
I mean,
watch
think
it
about
over
it
the
this way:
years.
if you look at the way sci-fi was in the '60s and the way reality is now, at some point, sci-fi becomes science.
Yes.
So just kind of everybody keep that in mind. So like when you think of Upload and altered carbon and things like that, no, that is a possibility at some point.
Well-
Maybe not to an extreme, but some version of it.
And right now
Yes,
they're
absolutely.
wanting to patent something that will go back to your digital past, whereas the plan, because I read an article on this, like the future plan is that people like us, while we're still here, will be training that AI as a replacement to replace us when we are gone. And think that gets into weird territory too. Like, you want me to
It's because
train
humans
the
are
me that will
obsessed
be
with the
around when I
ability
am
of
not.
Immortality. Humans want immortality, and with the internet and AIs, we can create it for ourselves.
Bizarre.
So I don't know. It's.
I just want you to be able to let me
It's
have a
very
digital
interesting.
assistant that actually works, and I can have it be based on whatever my favorite game character is. That's all I want. I'll pay for
You
that.
probably can. That's only a matter of time.
Yeah, but I mean, they're so concerned about making
What if
it
you're-
about real people. I just want it to be fictional people.
Yeah, but they can
That's
do
less
it with, like,
creepy.
once they do it with real people, doing it with AI and fake personalities, you'll be able to buy whatever you want. Get an add-on for so and so, and they're too mean. You get a sadness mod that changes their personality. Like, because we're a capitalistic country, everything will be add-ons and DLCs and things like that. But I just wanted to put it out there for just.
I'm just
thoughts
thinking
to
about
watch.
Grif's taste in her favorite characters, and I'm thinking they're not going to listen to her. They're just not.
No, but I mean,
They
like,
won't.
if it's your AI, it's essentially
You'll have to
just
buy
your...
an add-on to
They're going to
make
try
it
to
listen
take
to
over.
you.
I mean, so what if I get a Handsome Jack AI and he goes rogue and does start to try to take over the world? It's not my fault. I was just there for the ride. I'm just facilitating this.
Yeah, and then he
Says
ends
the
up
leader of
killing you,
Griftopia.
creating an AI of you that he can control, and then I will have a personal problem with
Well,
that.
you'll have a problem, but I'll be dead, so it won't matter to me, I guess.
You
I
have
mean,
a
in the
son
long
now,
run,
too, to think
I don't have
about.
to say.
You've got a lot more to think about.
Well, that's true, and I
So-
would not like to be here no more, but I would also not have an opinion after the fact because I will be here no more. It is
You
the
will,
fact
because
of
you will
life
be
and
an
death.
AI at that point.
Yeah, but then the AI me would have the problem with it, not the me. Organic me
Which one's real?
would be planted as a tree somewhere, but,
Which one's real?
I don't know.
That's
Too
going to be
fun.
an ethical dilemma that we'll come across, is what's a person and what's not. But all right, it's already an hour and some change, so
Hour and 37. I got this.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody who hangs out with us each and every week at Infinite Respawn. As always, you can check us out on Twitter at InfiniteResPC. You can check me out personally at MDB Oaktree. Check out Grif.
At Grif's Lineup.
Check out Chicken.
At Elite Chicken 313.
Check out Baka.
Baka.
Also, make sure that you go to Grif's YouTube channel, which is currently playing through Skyrim.
Yep.
She gets a couple out a week, so make sure you follow her on there and hit the little bell so you get the notifications. Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/Elite Chicken 313 Chicken. Do you got anything this week?
Still Ghost of Tsushima when eventually I get a chance to play it again.
Fair enough.
Streaming is very
Also-
difficult with a 5-month-old.
I understand. Wholeheartedly understand. Twice over. Also, make sure that you go to twitch.tv/MDB Oaktree, where I am now streaming Friday through Monday. I'm actually taking Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays off now. So make sure you go on there and follow. For Infinite Respawn, I'm Oaktree.
I'm Grif.
I'm Chicken.
Baka.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Please hang up and try again.